In a previous video, we learned the fundamentals of AWS step functions, how workflows are structured, how states control execution, and how data moves between steps. In this video, we will take it a step further and see how step functions integrate with other AWS services like DynamoDB, Lambda, SQS, etc. directly from within your workflow. I will use a simple demo to show the integration between a few AWS services, but it is not limited to just them. You can see how to use step functions to orchestrate between various AWS services without writing any extra code. Hello everyone, my name is Rahul and welcome back to this YouTube channel. If you're new here, I make videos on .NET, Cloud and DevOps. This video is part of my .NET on AWS series and thanks to AWS for sponsoring it. Here I'm in the AWS console under the step functions. Let's create a new state machine to start integrating with different AWS services. So let's choose create from blank. Let's leave it as standard and let's give the name as user onboarding. So this is going to show a workflow of onboarding a user. Let's click continue. Here we have the basic UI to create our step function. So let's start with one of the flow states that we used in the previous video and let's use pass to set some variables. Now, like we saw before, in the variables section, you can set some variables that's coming from the user input, which is then available to the entire workflow. So I will be passing some user information in JSON format as our input to the whole workflow. Now, I want this data to be available across the different steps in our step function. So let's set this as a variable. So like before, we will be using JSON expression, and here I have set the user from the states input.user. We learned about states in the previous video and how it contains the input that passed into the step. Now in this case, since this is the first step that starts, it will be getting the input that we pass to the workflow. Now since the whole of user in the input is going to be a JSON object, the user here is also going to be set with all the properties that's on the states input. We will see this shortly. Now, once we have the user, let's say we want to add this into a DynamoDB table. Now, I already have a DynamoDB created here. Under tables, we have the user table, which currently does not have any data in it. Now, this has a partition key and sort key with the name PK and SK. So you can put any properties in that name. In this case, we will be using the user ID and also a string as the sort key, purely for demonstration purposes. So let's navigate back and let's switch to actions where we have all the integrations with other AWS services. So here you can see the popular services and you can also scroll down to see the other AWS services that's supported. Now there are a lot in here, which means almost any of the AWS services you can easily integrate with workflows. Now what we need is DynamoDB. So let's search for DynamoDB and let's use the put item, which is going to be used to put an item into DynamoDB. So let's drag this below the pass state. Now with the DynamoDB state selected, we can update the configuration that's required. So let's call this as save user details. Now we also need to specify the arguments and the output. So in the case of arguments, you can see we can specify the table name and also the item that needs to be inserted. Now since I have multiple properties to be inserted, let me copy and paste this JSON structure and I will walk you through it. Now in here, I have the table name as user, which matches the table that we just saw. And we have the primary key and secondary key. Now in this case, I want this to come from the variable. So I'm using the JSON expression inside this JSON structure here. So we have $user, which is going to be the variable that we set in step 1. And I'm using the user ID property. Similarly, I'm setting the SK to be a hard-coded string, which says this is a profile information. And I'm also setting all the other properties for user ID, email, name, etc. So you can see all of this is mapping using JSON expression and getting the values from the user variable that we set. Now, we will be passing this entire JSON structure, which will create a new record in DynamoDB. So let's see this in action. So let's create this workflow and let's execute this. When we hit create, it's going to say with this requires role permissions. Now in this case, it requires an Xarray permission, which is by default added. And also you need permissions to access DynamoDB. Right now, this is giving the action get, put, update, delete. However, you can update this to the minimal permissions for just updating the record. But let's keep this for now and let's click confirm. Now this is going to create the workflow and also set up all the policies that's required. Let's click execute and let's pass some information to see this workflow in action. So let's pass in the JSON object. Here I'm passing the user with the appropriate field. So we have the user ID, email, source, etc. So let's click start execution, which is going to execute this workflow. The save user details DynamoDB state was executed. So let's switch over to our DynamoDB. Let's go to explore table items and we can see the record inserted here. So we have user 12345 with the appropriate information. Now, if I switch back, let's execute this once more. Let's give this as a different value. So let's give this as 7 and let's make this as Rahul. Let's click start execution. This is going to insert the record again. So let's switch back and refresh this and you can see the next record being written, which is Rahul Nal and with the new ID. So this is how easily you can integrate with AWS services in workflow. I already have an SQS created, so we have a user onboarding with this URL. So let's come back to our step functions and search for SQS inside our actions. And let's use the SQS send message state and drag this into our workflow. Now we are placing this below the DynamoDB and let's update some of the configuration that's required. Now this requires a queue URL, which I have already copied, or you can also select it from here. So we have the user onboarding and let's pass in a message. Now you can pass the input as is as the message, or you can also create a message of your own. So let's create a message in this case and let's paste in the JSON object that's required again. So similarly, I'm using JSON ARA expression for mapping the variables to the property. So I have user ID, sign up date, and also created date. Now to pass the current date time, I'm using the now function from the JSON ARA expression. Now this is a user onboarded event, so I'm just keeping it like that. Now, when we save this time, it did not automatically detect that we have added an SQS and it needs to update the permissions, which means we have to manually go in and update the role to have permissions to talk to SQS. So let's switch over to config, where you can see the permissions and the role information. So let's click view in IAM where you can update this role's permissions. Now in this case, we only have two policies, which is for X-Ray and DynamoDB, which means we need to create an inline policy to enable this to talk to SQS. So let's search for SQS. Let's click next. Let's choose the function that we required. In this case, we want to be able to send message, and we can also specify the specific ARNs to limit access. Now, if we switch back to our queue, we can copy the ARN from here and use that inside this place. So let's click the add ARNs, which means it's only going to have access to the specific ARN to send the message. So let's click next and let's give this a name. So let's specify user onboarding SQS policy and let's click create policy. Now we have the SQS policy created, which means we should be able to execute this step function. So let's click execute and let's see this in action. So let's pass in some info here. So I have this already in my clipboard. So let's pass in the user object and let's click start execution. Now this is going to save to DynamoDB and also raise the message to SQS. So you can see all of them are green, which means they are successfully completed. So if I switch over to my SQS and send and receive messages and let's poll for messages. So you can see the message that's coming in here and this is giving the user onboarded and the sign up date and the created date. Now, based on this SQS, you can have other workflows being triggered in your applications. Now, you can also mix and match the flow states to control the flow of execution. Up until now, we were just integrating with AWS services, but let's also see an example where we can control the flow. We did use the pass state from the flow, but let's also add in a choice state so that you can see different flows inside this workflow. Now, in this case, for rule 1, let's say if we have a specific property inside the object, we need to go down this path. Now, in this case, I'm using the referral code. So if the user metadata has a referral code property, so I'm using the $exist function in the JSON ARA expression, and I'm also comparing the length. So if it has a non-null value for referral code, it is going to go down this path. Close this, which is going to create the rule. Now we can drag and drop. So in this case, let's say I want to call a Lambda function. So let's use the invoke Lambda function and drop it in here. Now for the default, let's just leave it like that. So let's use a pass state to simply log there is nothing happening. So in here, we can say no action. But in your workflow, you could be updating it based on your needs. Now to invoke a Lambda function, Again, as before, let's select the Lambda function. You can select the Lambda directly from here. So I have a user onboarding Lambda function already published to my AWS account. Now in this Lambda function, all I'm doing is getting the input and just logging this out. So this will be returned into the CloudWatch, which we will see in a moment. So let's switch back. Now again, you can choose the input as the payload, or you can create your own payload. So let's pass in a payload of our choice. And again, as before, we will be using JSON expression to create a JSON object. So I have user ID and created and passing this to this user onboarding Lambda function. So let's save this once we have all of this set up. Now, since we've added Lambda function, which means we have to create a new policy. So let's switch over to our role and create a new inline policy. Now, since I have the JSON already, let me copy and paste, and we're giving the invoke function access to the specific user onboarding Lambda function. So let's click next, specify a name, and create the policy. So now this has access to the Lambda function. Now with Lambda functions, you also need to update the Lambda functions policy. So let's navigate to the Lambda function under configuration. Let's make sure that in permissions, you have the resource-based policy statements, and you can add this statement. So you can add a custom ID and use states.amazonaws.com and grant it the invoke function permission. So once you have created this, our step function is all ready to be invoked. We have saved this. So let's click execute. Let's pass in the object again. So we have the user object, and this has the referral code property. So let's choose a different ID, and let's choose a different name, and let's click start execution. Now this is going to save the user details. Now since we have a referral code, it is invoking our function and it's ending this workflow using that choice path. Now if I navigate to the DynamoDB and refresh, you can see a new record. Let's also go to our user onboarding Lambda function, and let's go to the monitor tab and say view CloudWatch logs. Here you can see the log entry, and inside this we can see the information of the request, which is user 123 and the created date. Now if I was to pass a different input, so let's click execute again. Let's paste in the user object. Now in this case, let's remove the referral code. Let's leave it as empty and start execution. Now in this case, since we don't have a referral code, once it sends the SQS message, it is going to go down the other flow of path and end the workflow. You can very easily glue together different AWS services into a workflow that your application requires. Now in this scenarios, we saw that all these cases were successful. However, in a future video, I'll also talk about how to handle exceptions and how to update your workflow to work along with that. If you want to be notified when that video comes out, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. It also helps me to grow this YouTube channel. Thank you, and see you soon in the next video.